Great. Hi, and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to learn more about our program in outdoor and sustainability education. And I'm here with Emilia and Yasin, and I will let you introduce yourselves properly in a minute. I'm just going to go through a few things before we start. As always, this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on our website. If you're watching the recording, you can actually ask questions. You do this in the questions section, which obviously you can do if you're watching this live with us. But even afterwards, if you're watching the recording, you can still ask questions, and those questions will be forwarded to us. The questions in the questions box, there's also a chat function. Do use that one to say hello to each other, where you're from. Who knows, you might end up connecting with somebody who you end up studying here with later on. I think that's the main kind of housekeeping things from the beginning. I think we're going to move on to actually talking about the program, the reason you're here listening to us and watching us today. Let's hear more from you. Let's start with introductions. Emilia?
And I'm Emilia Fagerstam. I'm the program director of this one-year master program, and I'm also a lecturer in the program, teach pretty much.
Thank you.
And I'm Yasin Tumwesiji. I'm from Uganda. I did the program from last year, and this year I was fortunate enough I graduated. Glad to be with you today.
No, I'm really pleased to see you. I've worked quite a lot with Yasin. I couldn't help but bring our brochure and look. You've helped us a bit with our student recruitment, and it's been a delight. Let's start with talking a bit more about the program. Emilia, why do we offer this program? I mean, why did we even think that there was a need for it in the world?
I would say we have the program for teachers for all ages and others interested in education, who are interested in the outdoors, but also who want to develop their skills in teaching and maybe leaving their comfort zone, teaching outside the classroom.
Okay, so taking traditional teaching methods in a way and putting them in an outdoor context, or is it completely brand new methods?
I think we depart from a Scandinavian approach of outdoor school, which is pretty much about taking your subjects outdoors on a regular basis, but mix them with indoor teaching, outdoor teaching.
Okay.
But it also, from a sustainability perspective, we need maybe to take another viewpoint on education and have a more holistic, interdisciplinary approach and use outdoor places to a larger extent than we do. We need to connect children to places.
Especially with urbanization, I can imagine, kind of connecting them with nature and understanding where things come from.
Absolutely, and it's both natural places we're talking about, but also to learn about your urban area around you, your neighborhood, and how does it work? How can we change things we want to change, and these kind of things. So it's both urban and natural places we are teaching in.
We're going to have a look at the program structure in a bit, but first I want to hear from Yasin. Why did you choose this program, and what attracted you to Sweden? It's a far away from Uganda.
Yeah, it's quite like two questions in one. Sweden as a country, first of all, it's ranked among the top education destinations in the whole world. The air is fresh, and if you Google anywhere, best education destinations, Google Sweden comes among the top. But as the program, I always felt, because I have a teaching background, I always felt that our education system back at home was a little bit limited, and it wasn't giving our learners this ability to explore. So I wanted something that could make me dig deeper into this and try to get a way of exploring all the opportunities that could be out there. So that's how I landed on outdoor. And luckily enough, it's I think it's only offered here and in the US, I don't know. But I landed on this, and it was good that it's in Sweden with its progression in sustainability and everything. I've always been passionate about the environment and stuff. So that's how I landed on the program, and I chose it as my number one option.
And what did you think of it?
Amazing.
I'm glad you say that. He hasn't been paid to say that, I promise. But I'm I'm glad you felt that. Let's look at the program structure. We have a slide, who I think Luke will share now. Is it on the screen? No, there it is. So this program is a one-year program. First semester. How do you start? I mean, what's the first thing you do when you start?
Yeah, what's the first thing we do? What do you say? But we do pretty soon leave lecture halls, seminar rooms, and take the students outdoors. I think it's a second day or third day after the roll call. So we really want them to go outdoors, and we try to, teach the subject we teach, and do a lot of learning by doing. As Yasin said, the students do a lot of experiences themselves, but also reflect upon them. So it's lectures and seminars as well, of course.
And but sometimes outside? Lectures, seminars outside?
Maybe not lectures,
Not
but
lectures,
seminars outside.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty common.
Yeah.
Walk and talks, or in some, we have some meeting places around the campus area where we can have sit down in the forest having a seminar or walk around.
So is this part of outdoor learning in theory and practice? That's the course you start with?
We start with that course, and it's more, this course has the focus more on this outdoor school, the Scandinavian approach mainly, with the disciplinary teaching, so students try out outdoor learning in different subjects, both as kind of pupils, but also then they develop their own outdoor lessons.
Okay.
So they have kind of foundation, theoretical foundations, but also trying it out.
Okay. What did you, thinking back, remember your first week?
I think the first thing that, when you ask that question, the first thing you did, there was a thing that really amazed me, the fika. She gave us fika the first day, and then she said, "I'm Emilia." Like, I finished the whole program without coming to terms with calling her Emilia. But in Sweden, it's very common. So I always felt uncomfortable if someone said, "Emilia, can you help me with this?" So the first real things we had was like coffee together. It was so heartwarming. It became like a family instantly. Like, it didn't feel like a class. So I will never forget that fika.
Brilliant, brilliant. So it is true that the way to, someone's heart is through food and drink. That's how you buy them.
Cinnamon bun.
Yeah, cinnamon bun. Yeah.
It was so
that's good. That's good. I'm glad. I mean, then that kind of connects you, because it's very much a class, kind of, a year, a cohort that stick together.
Yeah.
How many people were in your year? Do you remember?
We were 24.
Yeah, I think 26 actually.
26.
You were
26.
Yeah.
And I think by second week, she could call each one by their name, faces and name.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
I do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could. So where is? Yeah, it was so good.
So what about this? You just explained, the first, what was it? Theory, outdoor learning in theory and practice. So that course.
Yes.
You went outdoors, and what
So
was
we did a lot of things, a lot of touring. We went to Biakasobi. We went to there is this one. I even documented it on the Instagram page. We went, and she was reading to us the history of the place, and then she gave us this task. We're just supposed to relax, lie down, and just feel the story. So we just lay down, and then she started reading us the place. It like kind of connected us, and then after we did the task. So we did lots of going outside around the campus, and also moving outside. And it also helped that the university has lots of resources, because we used to have cars, drive ourselves out to the places. So those who have driving licenses, valid on.
I'm glad you confirm that.
Yeah.
I think you appreciated that too.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Coming from my background, I really appreciated it, because it gave us an opportunity to tour Sweden, and it was giving us a history, and not only learning how to use it, but also learning from the perspective of a child. There is a play area behind the Vala where there are the horses.
So
near the university, it's an area called Vala that has horses. Yeah.
There is where like babies play from, like a play area. We actually went there and did a task in there. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. It sounds like you had a lot of fun
It
and
is.
a kind of it's a hands-on experience. The first course.
And we use, as I say, the campus area. It's an amazing campus area, actually. We have a nature reserve close by and the playground, and also going a little bit farther away.
And the Björkasäby that you mentioned is an old, it's an old.
nature reserve. So we
Is
have
Björkasäby a castle?
yeah, it's a
Kind of manor castle, kind of manor house. So just explaining the context, and that's where you. And I think that's a brilliant way of kind of reading the story and being there and closing your eyes and getting to kind of paint the pictures.
With the, connecting with the place.
I want to do the program now. No, but you have to be a teacher, right, to do the program.
Teacher or having an and master with in education or teaching practice or adult learning or similar. So if you don't have a bachelor in education teaching, you can still apply if you have this extra.
If you have a master's in
at least 1 year master.
Masters in, okay. So I had to do one in education
Yes,
before.
you have.
Yeah.
But welcome.
Thank you. What about the second course? If we can have the slide back, please. There we go. So, environmental and sustainability education in the natural and cultural landscape. Tell us a bit more about that.
And then we take this more holistic perspective and really dig into this. What can places offer? And as we learn from the places where we are, and from a sustainability perspective, this ecological view, but also the social economical view, and also who are the actors in this place. And
okay, so is that also outside a lot, and do you still travel, or are you more kind of campus based?
it's not that much outdoors, but we are still outdoors, and here also students take more responsibility for their own learning. I would say all the program is student centered, but in the second course they are more in charge for running workshops, seminars, and a longer field trip. So they all organize at least a 2-hour field trip, a longer excursion at the end of that course.
Okay, for each other, kind of.
Yes, so they are the kind of the pupils, students.
Where did you go?
We went to Norrköping.
Okay.
It's another city after Linköping. We organized as our group. We had been organized in groups. So each group would organize a place. So we took ours to Norrköping. It's very beautiful. There is, I think, the water. Is it a river or?
It's a river. It's Norrköping is kind of seen as sometimes Scandinavia's Manchester, because it was a lot of textile manufacturing in the 19th century. So you still have the kind of the old buildings.
The old industrial
So you have a lot of history. There's a lot of kind of. So I can imagine it was a good place to go.
It was a good place.
And what did you think of the course as a whole, the sustainability?
So the sustainability, it was very hands-on and collaborative. At the end of it, we did an anthology. It was amazing. Like everyone wrote something, and then we put it together. It's a beautiful piece, and it was published. The mere fact that we got together to work on one thing, that was one thing that also took my breath away, because I had never been experienced to that, where everyone brings a part in. And the experience of having cities as contributors, to this ecological system, it was also new to me and a learning experience. But in all, it was so amazing.
Because is there a lot of group work within the program? I think it tends to be a very Swedish thing. I mean, I hear that from a lot of international students, that it's, students from other countries tend to be more used to doing their own project, or you do your own essay, and it's kind of your own space. But here you do together.
I think it goes both into the outdoor and sustainability education approach. I mean, in outdoor, you cannot just go out or continue reading in your books. I mean, you maybe need to plan it more at a small group learning, problem solving, and sustainability education is also a lot about the students to take their own active role, and then of course you need to give them the chance to do that, to plan their learning, and this anthology is a good example of it. They write it together, good examples of sustainability education that they can bring back home and use.
It's a really good exercise in teamwork, really building something together. What about the second semester? So again, we've got theories of research and methods of inquiry. I suppose that is in preparation for the thesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's more traditional course. It's methods and more indoor, but then also, we are in the January, and it's pretty cold. So I think the students usually think it's quite fine to be.
They don't mind. They don't mind. What did you think of the Swedish winter?
The Swedish winter, it was the trickiest part about the program. But from the first, she told us there is no bad weather, bad clothes. So
from kindergarten.
Exactly. Every child has been told that by their mother or father. So it's something that's no bad weather. No, you can continue that.
No, she told us that. But it was tricky for me at first, adjusting very fast. I came with one pair of shoes, but soon I realized you can die from bad shoes.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. I think that's the one thing I say when I see international students is, the first thing you buy proper soles.
Yeah.
I think get up from the ground, because sometimes, unless you're a 16-year-old student, they tend to still wear Converse, but I don't recommend that at all.
And I think we continue also telling them,
yeah,
wear proper clothes.
Wear
you
proper
won't
clothes,
freeze.
exactly. Wear proper clothes, and by the time kids are about 25, 30, maybe they listen. But yeah, was it kind of? Did you find that you had to have a different kind of structure or approach to your studies when it kind of gets darker and a bit more?
Yeah, on health-wise, it was tricky because I was lacking on the sun. I could feel, but then again, when it kind of gets dark, the time zone is a little bit confusing because it's dark when you wake up and it's dark when you go home. So you tend to want to sleep in more. So it takes a little bit a while to adjust to that. So it was kind of tricky.
I think I've heard that as well, and the importance of structure, of kind of still getting up and going to, even if you maybe have self-study, so you're supposed to sit at home, but instead you get up or you go to university and you're there for like 9 or whatever, and kind of, because we're not gonna, kind of sugarcoat things. it does get dark, and I don't, it's cold, but it's warm inside. It's always warm indoors. Yes.
And we do have a lot of scheduled time, so we do have lessons at the university to drag them out of bed.
So these courses that we have, so they're 15 HP we've said, and that's ECTS, kind of European credit system. That's usually 15, is half a semester?
Yeah, it's 10 weeks.
Yeah, so 10 week. And in the autumn, when you have these 2 courses, do you have one course and then another course, or do they run kind of in parallel?
No, it's more like first course number 1 and then course number 2.
Okay.
So not in parallel.
Right. And how do you assess the courses?
In the first course, it's a kind of essay where they are to write a reflection around this. They organize an own lesson with either their peers or actually going out in Swedish schools or preschools, having an outdoor lesson with real students. So it's kind of a reflection around this lesson, both the planning, how they planned it, and the rationale behind it from theory. Why did they use that place, for example? What did they think the place would add to the learning experience? But also from learning theories, what are the arguments for going outdoors? And here we have, it's a really diverse field in that way. We have, different theories of learning, supplementing outdoor teaching, but also motivation and this just being outdoor in green areas, a lot of research.
Okay.
Saying more and more the benefits of being outdoor in natural environment. So they write about that, kind of bringing theory and practice together.
And is that for? So that's for the first course, and then the second and third, are they assessed in exams, or is it also?
Is this anthology where you both write together in a group, but also one chapter individually, and the method is a research proposal for the thesis.
The thesis, okay.
Where they just have a plan, both qualitative and quantitative.
Did you actually go into a Swedish school? Did you get to visit a Swedish school?
I went to Katedraskolan. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
high school. It was
Yeah.
recommended by our professor, and it was a different, of course, experience. I wrote a reflection about it. Yeah.
Was it very different to?
It was very, very different.
Was it?
Very different, I can tell you. Yeah. Just to mention a few, the uniforms.
Of course.
The uniforms,
course.
and
No
then
uniforms.
Yeah, the lack of uniforms
and then
here. Yeah.
the luxury, because I think they had their laptops and phones, and at once the teacher would just say, okay, now put away the laptops, put away the phones. That was also new to me.
Yeah, yeah, it is interesting to see, and I think maybe outdoor is a good way of getting back to kind of basics anyway, and getting away from the technology and the digital world. The final part of the program is the thesis project, so and that's about 10 weeks as well.
Yeah.
And what are students expected to do for it? I mean, is it a written thesis? Is it a group kind of project thesis, or how does
It's
it work?
an individual work, and they need to do some data collection, having some empirical work, and we can help in some ways, but usually they also need to plan it pretty much on their own, as we don't have that many schools that can support with having them out there, and also the language is sometimes a problem. So mostly they do gather the data in their home countries. But some do it here in Sweden too, so of course they can do it.
So a lot of people travel back to their home countries to gather the data, or they do it online?
I think it's both.
It's both,
Some
yeah.
I mean, if you do a
Yeah.
quantitative study, you send out questionnaires online.
Yeah.
But some travel back and do their
And
data
then-
collection in their home countries.
Okay. What did you do?
I used the data from back at home online, but I have a friend from the Gambia, Amadou. He used the Swedish school, and he said the reception was amazing. The kids couldn't understand him, but he said he really got a lot of data.
Did you have
Yeah.
smaller children then?
Yeah, smaller
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
I think below 9.
Oh, okay, so really, yeah.
So personally, I got data from home using technology.
And what did you write yours on?
So it was outdoor education in the context of Ugandan secondary schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, really interesting.
Yeah, I would say it's really large diversity in topics in the thesis. So
Yeah,
they are
and-
creative students. They
yeah.
find different.
And I can imagine, because everybody, because you have to have this background as a teacher, I can imagine a lot of people have work experience, and they do have some kind of network already.
Yeah, and also maybe want to do something that they can more easily apply when they come back home. So they do it
So
in
they
the
do.
context of their own country
Yeah.
back home.
And do we, for the ones who don't go, I mean, for your friend who went to a school, do we have contacts?
As
to
I
help
said,
them?
we don't have that many contacts that we can send students to a lot of different schools, but we try our best when we know from the method course what study they want to do, and usually we can help out with Swedish contacts.
What about kind of who should apply for this program? If we're thinking about the ideal student, or who would thrive on this program, what kind of, we're talking about the academic background, which should be a bachelor in teaching, or at least 1 year at master's level in education or related. What else? I mean, what other kind of personal skills or interests or values should you have to actually succeed in the program?
I mean, first of all, I think it's good if you enjoy being in the outdoors in all weather. Can be rainy and cold. But also it's a lot of, writing, and you need to be pretty good in English and academic writing and these kind of things too. It's not only out in the forest.
It's not just so. This is we do have the basic requirement is IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 90, and that's so that's the minimum to actually be accepted. But do bear in mind that it is a lot of writing, and you do need to be sure of yourself. And I think sometimes you think, well, I did well in the test, but make sure that the reading as well, that you maybe prepare by reading in the summer, because again, reading in a different language, it takes a while before you get the hang of it.
And the literature list is a lot of, peer-reviewed academic journals too. So, yeah,
So
you need to be pretty confident in reading in English.
And do you get access to the reading list in the summer before you come here, so you can prepare? Or?
Good question. I ask you.
You get access after registering.
Yeah, after
That's when
After registering.
her room opens.
Okay.
Yeah. There is like a digital room where.
Okay.
Yeah. So once after registration and clearing all the other requirements for like international students paying tuition, and then that's when it opens, and then you can see. Yeah.
Well, from your perspective, I mean, what would you say? who would succeed on the program? I mean, what kind of what kind of skills, or what kind of person?
Well, the first thing, I think it's interest, because it's very hands-on, and if the person is really changing continents, and there is that passion lacking in there, it's easy to get discouraged, and you must be sort of flexible. Yeah, sort of flexible, because one, we are meeting lots of people. It was about 10 countries. So it's a multi-dimensional classroom. And secondly, there is a lot of sharing back and forth, teamwork, meaning you have to work with people. So you can't get so held up in your views and whatever. So you have to be open-minded, flexible, and also have the passion for the program that you're going for.
I think that's also one, benefit with this intercultural context, that you learn so much from each other during the program, and so everybody add their own perspectives and
So you
back and forth and discuss.
Yeah. And they both are kind of a challenge, but also a massive bonus. What was the most challenging thing? Was there something that was challenging?
Personally, the most challenging was the weather. Trying to catch up, because at one point I would just see people just stepping out. They just get a sweater and then the raincoat, and they just step out. But I was struggling.
It was cold for
you? Yeah, it was cold for me. Even up to now, I'm still, because. But the weather was the only thing. But it's manageable when you have the right clothes. Like she told us right from the beginning, there is no bad weather. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Just
wear clothes. It is interesting you say that. I think I said to him like 3 or 4 times, "Are you sure you're going to wear a jacket? It gets really warm in here." But I think that I've heard that from other students as well. That I think it's it takes a while to get used to.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to be aware of it, and the fact that it's not a disaster. No. Did you experience snow last year?
Yeah, it was my first time seeing snow in my whole life.
Did you go ice skating or skiing?
Yeah, I went to the north, the Lapland trips. I went to. It was so good.
Yeah. And I can imagine you get a completely different experience, and there is an ice skating rink, a public one near the university, where you can actually rent skates. At the kind of campus gym, or it's a big gym, and I think a lot of international students.
And in the city center at the big square, when it reaches around, I think December, they turn it into like an ice rink.
Yeah. So you get to kind of experience being a kid again.
Yeah.
That's fun. We've talked for half an hour already, so we're going to open up for questions. Before we do that, the recorded part that we publish on the web, so if you're watching this on the web, we're going to leave you after this. So the questions part, the Q&A section, is only for those watching this live. So I'm going to do a quick kind of goodbye and a kind of conclusion just for those of you watching this video. Basically, the best way of getting in touch with us is have a look at our Instagram page. You were there as well. So it's run by students. They have a week each. So that's the best way of getting a really good idea, I think, of what life is like here. Same thing with our blog. So our Instagram is Linköping University. We also have an international program students at LiU. I know, the worst name we could have picked. Blog. Again, our students. Did you write in the blog? You did, didn't you? So again, you can get a really good idea of the experience from coming here, things that you need to remember and bear in mind. Facebook, you can connect with us, but the easiest way and best way is actually to hit reply to an email that you've already received from us. Or you go to the program page and you go to contact us, and you will get an answer really quickly that way. So to those of you watching the recording, thank you and goodbye.